Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, for you fellow Akim and Akwath that are out there, first and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekal Kodash, and of course, double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who continue through the Holy Spirit to deliver this truth to us. All right, and therefore we acquire the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and we try to, therefore, out on the highways and byways, try to wake up our people. All right. As you can see on the screen, here we go again. And let me tell you something. This is only going to increase. All right. It says here a so-called white man, which we know, a nation of Edom, descendants from their forefather Esau. He says killed two so-called black people in Louisiana. Here's how long he'll spend behind bars. All right. And there's his mugshot there. He says a Baton Rouge, Louisiana man went on a week-long racial killing spree and was convicted of a double homicide. You have to ask yourself, if they know that it was racially motivated, why wasn't hate crime tag put on it? All right. It says now he will remain behind bars for life. Maybe they thought that that was, punishment enough, whatever. District Judge Bo Higginbotham handed Kenneth Gleason a mandatory life term last month for the shooting death of Don Smart, 49, and Bruce Cofield, 59. The defendant was charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. However, under Louisiana law, and this is the key, under Louisiana law, multiple homicide cases can all be tried as first-degree murder. So there they give the spree killer, or I don't want to say serial so much. Maybe they draw a distinction. I don't understand how, but you see that this is all designed for when they do something, because they're prone to do shit like this. All right. So that in their own way, they're protecting themselves. It says on September 14th, 2017, Smart was fatally shot as he walked to his job for an overnight shift at Louis Cafe, not bothering anyone, just walking to work. All right, it reminds you of, if you remember the James Byrd case back in, I believe it was 1998. All right, where they drug him and to the point where his body just fell apart down in Texas. Jasper, Texas. It says along Alaska Street, just north of the LSU campus. Similarly, Cofield was killed as he sat at a bus stop near the intersection of Florida Boulevard and South Acadian Thruway. Investigators described that both killings took place while Gleason shot the victims from a moving car, then got out, stood over them, and shot them several more times. Both men were black. Oh boy. During the trial, prosecutors also claimed Gleason fired several shots into a black family home on his street within the Hickory Ridge subdivision off Coursey Boulevard. So he was just, man, he just does not give a fuck. All right, it says, and this is only going to increase. Why? Because there's a history in this country called America of when times, particularly economic downturns, these things start to happen, because guess who they're going to blame? The people that cannot protect themselves. Let's go, we get the history of lynching, all right, from Wikipedia. You see a Jake here. Lynching is an extrajudicial killing by a group. It is most often used to characterize informal public executions by a mob in order to punish an alleged transgressor, punish a convicted transgressor, or intimidate, in which case all three apply when it pertains to Jake. It can also be an extreme form of informal group social control, and it is often conducted with the display of a public spectacle. You niggers, get out of getting kind of uppity there. All right, often in the form of hanging for maximum intimidation. Instances of lynchings and similar mob violence can be found in every society. See, this is the campaign that these Edomites, these so-called white people, down through the centuries, decades, years, whatever, they managed for all these immigrants that came over here, and for those abroad, all right, they went around and Negroes are like, well, I'm just saying Negroes, but fill in the blank there. They're always lazy, or we have to be this way because they're brutes and yada yada yada. All the while, what's coming out now more and more is the fact that no, and anyone with common sense would have doubted that from the jump. All right, all the accomplishments that we attain, they buried, both figuratively and literally. We have towns that are literally underwater, that were destroyed. We did not just sit back and, expect handouts. But through their press, which is a big weapon, you will find out in books such as 100 Years of Lynchings, that's just a collection of newspaper clips. And it illustrates how complicit the media was in incidents like this, where this Jake is hanging from the tree. Most of those cases involve what? Supposedly his cave bitch, the so-called white woman, was lynched by Jake, and nothing of the sort happened. All right, we're set up here for intimidation, social control. That's what it was done for. All right, going to history here. Let's see, the nadir. Now nadir, you got zenith when when you talk about the sun, its position, that's the highest point, and the nadir is the southernmost point. So they use that as far as race relations. My question is, when have they ever been good? All right. So it says the nadir of American race relations was the period of African American history and the history of the United States from the end of Reconstruction, 1877. And this is where, for the most part, well, after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, and then 1865, which is everyone associates with the end of chattel slavery, we were pretty much, that bullshit ass Freedmen's Bureau, all those things. What was it, Andrew Johnson, that racist piece of shit who succeeded Lincoln. And then we go into the Reconstruction period. Jake was just left to themselves. And then you had the forming of the Klan, the National Rifle Association, all these things, Jim Crow, prison industrial complex. That's what I meant to say earlier. After chattel slavery ended, they had to have a way to make sure that they somehow were still able to acquire either free or, well, in that case, then it was. And then you got, as years progressed, where you got, well, we'll pay them 10 cents an hour, 20 cents an hour, et cetera, et cetera. It's still slavery. All right. Let's see, scrolling on down. So yeah, now that I say that, this whole thing is how to keep a nation within a nation under subjection. They make us these bullshit promises. We've got suckered into the political system, all right, which we, out on the highways and byways, try to tell our people it doesn't matter which party you attach yourselves to. None of them have our best interest at heart. Again, as a phrase I use, it's a token gestures. They do just enough to make it appear that they're trying to help us. All right, but we know that's just faking it. All right, and our people fall for it time and time again. All right, this is why we use scriptures such as, and I've gone way too long, so, so I can, like this one I'm getting ready to get. You've got to form that mindset that this place, all right, is was never for us. It's never going to be for us. Therefore, you should set your mind on things that, hey, we got to get up out of here. This is Micah 2:10. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction." All right, now this can be scripture here, both literal and figurative. All right, the literal part, yeah, the physical part of it, the chariots, right before this place is blown to smithereens. Yeah, all right, we're gonna be lifted up. We're gonna be those of us, hopefully, that are of the elect. Yeah, but the figurative part, get your mind right. That's the whole reason why we have time right now. Fuck this place. Let's go to Hebrews 11. I will start around. Let's see. Of course, we were expelled out of the Holy Land ages ago. All right, and this is Hebrews 11:15. "And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned." All right, but now they desire a better country, that is, in heavenly. Wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he hath prepared for them a city, and the Most High's name is Yahweh. All right, and it goes in. You got your Hall of Fame as far as faith, and that's what this whole chapter is about. All right, now let's go to 13 real quick. This is Hebrews 13:14. For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Nothing you acquire here. You work hard. You try. You say, well, I want that, that so-called American dream, which we all know is bullshit. But our people kill themselves. Sometimes, I'm using that figurative, but it happens literally sometimes. All right, in an effort to get that house with the white picket fence, and, the 2.5 children, whatever, and they don't realize you never own anything here. This is the way this is set up. This is one grand illusion. All right, and our people, they have our people's minds. All right, they're so emotionally invested in this shithole. All right, and this is what we're trying to tell our people. We had a guy yesterday at camp. He was a so-called Christian. He said, everybody that's a Christian is my brother. And we're trying to tell him, and his mind is seared with a hot iron. He's one of those. He's just gonna have to feel some heat at the end of the day. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to the article. But yes, this is going to increase. That's why in several of my videos I try to warn Jake that you got to keep your head on a swivel now. These Edomites are feeling the pinch. Jake, that's all we've ever known. But you're talking about a people, and if you research their history, they've never dealt with adversity very well, if not at all. All right. And how do they lash out? With their guns. Every other weapon. That's their blessing, the sword. You're talking about at the end of the day, a beastly, base, really unhinged individual in its core, at their core. All right. Job 30th chapter. This is who ruling over us. Daniel 4:17. In fact, let me get that. This is, this is the Most High's doing. This is punishment. We can go into Psalms 10 and Psalm 17, but let's go into Daniel 4. All right. This is our punishment. It says, Daniel 4 and 17, this matter is by a decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right. This is all the Most High. And giveth it to whomever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men. Again, going back to what? Job 30th chapter. Let's go there real quick. This is who you're dealing with. All right. This is how they got to be in the region where they're most known as supposedly originating from. We know that's bullshit. All right. This is why they were driven up into the mountains of Europe. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this is Job he's talking about. He says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision. All right. They're base. They're underneath him. Whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs in my flock. Now, why would he say that? We know them to be involved in what now known as bestiality. All right. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat, which they're still known for today. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. How do you cry after a thief? Okay. Isn't this man known? He goes into Habakkuk second chapter. What? This is how he rolls. All right. It says that to dwell in the cliffs of the valley, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Let's go into that word vile, because if this doesn't hit home with you, but you associate every other thing, they are contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments of the scripture, of the word of the Most High. You can't see that with all the things they're trying to push. They got your children in, I'm just going to say grade school, it might be earlier, learning from what? Trannies and all kind of sexual deviants. Let's see, viler, let's go there, that's Strong's. H5217, Nakah, to strike, scourge, smite. Alright, drive away, viler. That's not what I was looking for. We might have to go to, let's see. I don't remember this being, this is not what, see, this is how you have to know that some things are being done. All right. Let's go to whoops. As an adjective, extremely unpleasant, morally bad, wicked, of little worth or value, and that's them. It goes to tell you that in Obadiah, what the Most High is doing now. All right, He's making them small amongst the heathen, greatly despised. All right, and they succeeded through their campaigns. Again, the media has been a huge weapon. All right, in making themselves appear. It says, let me get that real quick. Is that 2 Corinthians? Hold on. 2 Corinthians, I think it's 11. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe it's 2 Corinthians, 5th chapter. Hold on. No, that's not it. It'll come to me later on perhaps. But as I promised, let's go to Psalms 10. All right. And this is, of course, King David talking about these Edomites. It says, the wicked, who they are, all you have to do is go to Malachi, first chapter, verses 1 through 4. Through the pride of his arrogance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High Yahweh is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Now, think of Psalms 50, verses 16 on down. Yet, he holds the Bible up, supposedly, as his standard. It's a front, all right? We know his mind is on anything but, all right? It says, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. You can tell the way this society is, his kingdom is set up. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. This is how he rolls. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Again, going into what? Sirach 12 and 10 on down. Never trust thine enemy. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Who are the poor? The Israelites, us. He lieth, and he's made sure of it. All right? He's made sure that you have to come, and that's the curses. You have to come to him. That's Deuteronomy 28 and 48. We have to go to this piece of shit for want of all things, you know? But here's the good thing. These curses are being transferred to him. That's why in this article, the point I was making, he cannot handle it. All right? Deuteronomy 30 and 7. All right? These curses are being put on our enemies. All right? Again, he sits in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. All these, now we know this latest so-called pandemic is bullshit, but look at all the diseases that just come out of nowhere. Who do you think's behind this? All right, that's part of this right here. He lieth in wait secretly. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, makes rub elbows and shoulders with yeah. But all the while, again, going back to Sirach 12th chapter, he croucheth and humbleth himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it, because they've been allowed, and that's the key word, to get away with so much for so long that pride has been built up. Not realizing the idiot that he really is, he's being set up like no one has been before. Arise, O Most High Yahweh, O God, lift up thine hand, forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked contemn the Most High Yahweh? He has said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. All right, so you got individuals like this. They like to prey on us. They've been taught all their life. Let's see, in consultation with the smart family, prosecutors did not seek the death penalty. Another thing with Jake. Oh, I forgive. That's that plantation Christianity. Let me read that again, because this is shit just makes me mad. In consultation with the smart family, prosecutors did not seek the death penalty. Before handing down a sentence, Higginbotham told the 27-year-old defendant the death penalty would have been the appropriate punishment for the crimes committed. So here it is. The devil, Esau Edom, at least according to this, was willing to put this motherfucker to death, but Jake was against it. What do you want to... I wonder if this had been another Jake. There's nothing the penal system can do to rehabilitate you. So yeah, they've thrown the book at this motherfucker, but there's Jake. Oh, I forgive you. There's nothing the penal system can do to rehabilitate you, Mr. Gleason, said Higginbotham. Though an FBI official testified of Gleason's activities on the internet with search history for white nationalism, Nazi propaganda, and genocide, he was not charged for hate crimes. Now we know why not. During the victim's impact statement, Cofield's family told the court despite their brother's battle with depression and drugs, he was still a treasured member of the family. He was a Southern University graduate with a mechanical engineering degree and worked as a research engineer before returning to Louisiana to raise a family. Oh boy, Jake. We gotta, you know, all the more reason why there's got to be a separation between the 1/3 and the 2/3. All right. So here it is, and since this so-called country puts such a high value on people that get an education, here it is, the second person he killed, Bruce Cofield, age 59, was highly educated. But of course, he didn't know that. He didn't see that. He wasn't looking for that. He was just looking at the color. All right. It says he got a mechanical engineering degree. He was a research engineer. For you people that, feed into that bullshit. Well, he had an education. He went, well, there's one right there. Didn't save him. All right, says I've gone, yeah. All right, that's about it. So, once again, we have a so-called white man killed 2 black people, so-called, in Louisiana. Given a life sentence, but if it wasn't for the Jake's family, he would have been put to death. All right. But what more can I say? Oh, Jake is like, their own worst enemy. All right, so with that, hey, like I said, I hope whoever views this is edified. We at Great Millstone, we do these things and, feeding things through the scriptures, so you'll have an idea what time it is. And as we always say, time grows short. Hopefully you can see that by what's going on. And again, we filter things through the scriptures. All right, so with that, shalom.